How are we? All right. So this is going to be a big episode. So if you are coming in live, guys, let us know in the comments. We are going to be starting this episode in 2 minutes. So a big episode to get the week started off well. I'm super pumped. I've been preparing this episode for a couple of hours and hopefully delivering plenty of good shit to you guys. So what's going on? Listen, it's so predictable, the kings that come in here in order. It's like the same dudes, but in slightly different orders each time. So I appreciate the earbuds of you fine ladies and gentlemen. Lovely to have you here this morning, this evening, or this afternoon, wherever it is for you guys and girls. So if you can, guys, let us know that the sound's coming through okay. As you might have remembered from my last episode, we've got only a lapel mic at the moment, which is a bit weird, but I left my podcast mic at home. So if the sound's not quite as good, that's the reason why, and I do apologize. Hopefully it doesn't disappear through the podcast episode. Let me know if there's any troubles getting stuck in, guys. So who we got here? We got the Kings. We got Christopher Lewis. How are you, legend? Good to see you in here, brother. Tez is here. Look, Tezza, congratulations, my main man, on your weekend run. What a champion effort that was, bro. How good. How do you feel, Tez? Let us know in the comments, mate, how you feeling. Who else we got? We got Bobby Gordon here. Hello, Bobby. How are you, legend? Good to see you in here, my man. We've got Joshy Brown. What's going on, Brownie? I'm guessing that you've got a little bit of a week off, perhaps, Brownie. So lovely to see you in here, buddy. Skeetsy, what's going on, mate? I'll come back to your message very soon in the success team. I think it's a really good idea, and I reckon Terry will be next to you there in the city to surf, buddy. So good. Stevie Byron, how are you, my legend? Good to see you in here. We got Jen Lovegrove. How are you, Jen? Good to see you in here, Jen. You're becoming super consistent. Jen, I got to say something. Claudia pointed out the other day, she said, is Jen like the most improved person in the entire group? Like, she was like this for a long period of time, and you've just gone doosh and really stepped things up. First day off for a month. I love it, Joshy. Guys, if you are coming in live, make sure you do say hi. We're going to be kickstarting this one in 1 minute. Hello, Meals. Speak of consistent. You and Jackie have become very consistent. I love having you guys in here, Meals. So good, especially given it's late evening on a Sunday afternoon for you. So I appreciate your earbuds. Good morning, Jackie. How are you, girl? Good to see you here. Chilly morning. Ooh, I'm glad I can't say the same. It's cooking here. I think we're ready to go, guys. So just can I just get a holler in the comments that the sound is fine? Just from someone, that'd be lovely. And then we're going to get started, guys. The little bastard keeps dropping down here, so hopefully it doesn't hide too far long. All right, guys, I'll wait for a sound check, and then we are going to get this episode started. Hey, Kayla, good to see you in here, mate. Lovely. Vincent says, great sound. Oh, fantastic, Vince. Wow, what a surprise to see you in here, my brother. I appreciate you. All right, guys, let's get started in today's episode. We're going to get stuck in on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is your podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. And if you want to kickstart the week in the right way, so whether it's a Monday morning for you or a Sunday afternoon like it is for me, I'm here to deliver you some value and get your week started in the right way. Whether you're inside Better Body Academy or you're outside in Better Body Academy, I appreciate you no end. So guys, for those inside Academy, last week of the sprint, we have been pushing hard on our resistance training for a period of 5 weeks now, and I'm interested to see how you guys have found this. I really do think that sometimes just narrowing our focus in on one thing can be really beneficial. And I've seen some growth over the period of the last 5 weeks. What I'd implore you to do is continue to finish strong. This is an opportunity to show that you're the type of lad or lady that does exactly what you say you're gonna do. So 6th week of the sprint. There is some cash and merch up for grabs, guys. We're going to be announcing them towards the end of the week. Let's get stuck into today's episode. Now, I'm in Mexico right now, and as I look outside, I see a beautiful infinity pool, which is so lovely. It's about 28 degrees and super sunny, and we're spending more and more time with our daughter in the pool. She's not yet 2 years old. She turns 2 in August. Yet with floaties on, she's got the confidence to just like jump into the pool now by herself. It's like so mental to see. I can kind of sit there and enjoy one of my low-calorie beers. Shout out, 95 calories a beer. What are they called? Michael's, I think they're called. Yeah, full-strength alcohol, low calories. I love that. It's exactly what you want when it's sunny and shining like this. And meanwhile, she's paddling out there by herself doing her own thing. So what we started doing was taking the floaties off and getting her to do little sort of swims underwater for 3 or 4 seconds. And it's amazing because the last time we were in a pool back in Australia a couple of months ago, she's so much more confident than she was back then. And she keeps saying, more, more, more. The kid can't even speak more than probably 15, 20 words, yet she can stay underwater for 3 to 4 seconds on a swim. Now, I don't know if this is normal. I'm not sure. I only have one kid, so I've got nothing to compare it to. But we've got another family that's here next to us that we've made friends with, and we've got a kid they've got a kid that's around 4 years old, and they said, well, she's only just taken the floats off now, so it's remarkable that Ocean can do what she wants. And when I think back to when she was born, she spent the first 2 weeks of her life in intensive care, and her first exposure to water, she absolutely hated. Like her first bath, she was the angriest kid in the world. She hated it. With a name like Ocean, right, it would be a little bit awkward if she couldn't swim. We're lucky enough to be able to kind of travel a little bit. So maybe, 4 or 5 months old, I actually had her out in the surf with me and splashing, and she was scared at the start, but now she's a different baby in the water. And although I'd like to think that it was all me and my teaching, the reality is I've got to credit my fiancée Claudia, Ocean's mum, who kept booking in swimming lessons despite my annoyance about it. I could think of a million things that I'd rather do on a Saturday morning other than swimming lessons, but she just kept booking them. You see, I thought to myself, I can just teach her. I resisted doing them, but now, as it always is, in hindsight, I see the benefits. And today I want to share with you 4 tremendous lessons that I have taken away that I think apply equally to your transformation, particularly if you're in the early stages of your transformation. I think this video is going to hit if you listen up and heed these messages. And again, it's always strange that we always recognize these things in hindsight. It's kind of like how Steve Byron said, well, in hindsight, I just wish I had have started earlier. That's always the thing that people say. Hindsight's 2020. Now, the first lesson that I want to say is that exposure to fear numbs the fear. Exposure to fear numbs the fear. I've spoken about fear multiple times on this podcast. I think fear of failure and judgment are the single biggest destroyers of dreams. I'm going to say that twice. Failure and fear of failure, fear of judgment are the single biggest destroyers of dreams, in my opinion. Think about the skill of swimming and how integral that is to both survival and quality of life. Isn't it a little contradictory that we push our kids into situations that they are scared of, but for ourselves, we hold back? Isn't that a weird thing? And ironically, we know that the fear is desensitized by getting exposure, but we forget that for ourselves. What changes between an adult and a kid? Why are we okay with our kid being a flip-flop crying mess in the pool, but not ourselves? Why is that? I think it's simple. We don't want to be embarrassed or judged, right? We don't want to be embarrassed or judged. In fact, they say that we're born with only 2 fears: heights and fear of loud noises. And these are because we need a survival instinct, right? If we didn't have those two inherent fears of heights and loud noises, we'd get ourselves into a fair bit of trouble. So when we understand that fear is a trait aimed at keeping us alive, we understand why fear is so hard to overcome. One of the most liberating things that I've personally ever done is jumping out of a plane. And it took me probably 20 years or more to build up to doing that thing. And I credit much of the success that I've had in recent years to that one thing, overcoming my fear. So the first question I've got for you is, how does that lesson apply to you? How does that lesson apply to you? What are you still fearful of that's holding you back and preventing you from going to your next level and perhaps giving you a better life experience? So the number one is fear is the thing that's holding us back, and we need to desensitize ourselves to fear. Lesson number two is that you get a coach because you don't know what you don't know. You get a coach because you don't know what you don't know. My initial impressions to Cordia telling me that we need to pay someone 25 to 30 bucks to flip-flop around in a pool with a 1-year-old was like why do we need to pay that? I can swim. Why don't I just teach her? And what I'm forgetting is swimming is a skill that I have learned personally, probably not very well, but over years and years and years of practice. But teaching a skill is very different to practicing a skill. It's why sometimes the best sports people in the world are terrible, terrible coaches, and yet the best coaches in the world are not the greatest players. It's the reason why you, as Better Body Academy members, continue to bring your friends into Better Body Academy rather than trying to teach them yourself. Because really gripping a skill requires first have an understanding of it, and then all of the little tiny pieces that make up that skill. And then the second part to it is the constant repetition that must go with that. So let's take a skill like submersions, okay? So when you take a baby and put her underwater, that's called a submersion. Now, I mean, you ask yourself, what could be really that hard about taking a baby and dunking it underwater? That's not really that hard, right? Well, it turns out it is quite hard. And when I tried to do it with my daughter, she got really scared and got a whole lot of water up her nose. But under the guide of a swim coach, she now wants to do it over and over and over again. In fact, she says, more, more, more. As soon as she comes back up for breath, she says, more, more. Like, how is that? She was so scared doing it with me, now she just wants to keep repeating it. And she's in no way scared. Now, take for example, something like eating for fat loss. That's a skill that's a little bit more detailed than just eating clean, okay? In fact, the reason the clean eating brigade usually fail is because they don't understand the basics of fat loss. And so they keep trying to do the thing and it's not working. And so they usually give up because the weight's not coming off. There's a very big difference between clean eating and eating for fat loss. So my question would be, would you prefer to watch endless YouTube videos or doing the Google searches around diet, wading through all the confusion, trying to figure out what is right and what is wrong when all of the different opinions oppose each other? Or would you prefer to pay a coach and get the answers now so you can start getting the result now? You pay a coach so you don't spend a whole lot of time learning the wrong shit to then have to unlearn that shit to then relearn the right shit. And that's if you got a coach quickly. You get a coach to get the curriculum so that you can just follow it and trust the process. So if you are in the academy and you're not following the process, just remember that the process works. And if you've gone away from the process, you need to come back to the process and stick to the process because the process works. And although you might have resistance to getting a coach, I can tell you that it's the single one behavior that changed my life. The single one behavior. It took me from trying to work out how to become a coach to actually getting the skills to be able to become a coach. And I didn't want to pay the money for it. Just like the swimming lesson. Like Why can't I just learn this myself? Because the truth is, you don't know what you don't know. So you're not going to grow if you can't work out how to find the piece of information that's going to unlock the next level for you. Does this make sense, guys? The third lesson that I've got for you is a big one, and I think this is my favorite lesson. It is that group learning fast tracks results. Group learning fast tracks results. So I want to give you a visual. Ocean is in classes mostly with kids that are older than her for whatever reason, as opposed to boring old swim lessons with dad where she just wants to frolic with dad. She gets to a swim lesson and she jumps in the pool to hang out with the other kids. It's fun for her and it creates curiosity. And curiosity is the reason it works. In fact, lack of curiosity is the exact reason why the school system fucking sucks. It sucks because it's like force-feeding information to a kid. That's the equivalent of force-feeding a plate of mushed boiled vegetables to a toddler. They don't want to do it. But when you integrate play with teaching, you get something like cooking, where the kid gets involved, and it's very basic, but you show them how to make a smoothie or you show them how to make a bolognese, and all of a sudden, they want to keep doing it. And this is exactly what happens in a swim lesson. Ocean jumps in the water for the first time this week from the edge with floaties on, and she did it because she saw one of the big kids doing it. That sounds exactly like our academy. New lads and ladies start posting photos and being accountable because they see the more experienced clients doing it. They effectively want to be like them, so they do like them. This is called modeling, and modeling is the most powerful way in the world to get results. It's also the reason, or one of the reasons, why guys and girls in our academy win. All we're doing as coaches is just teaching you what we do. There's nothing that I teach that I don't do myself, and there's nothing that I hold back from you that I would otherwise share. I'm trying to keep a secret. And in the pool, when Oshi has a lesson like a win, like she walks on the floating bloody carpet thing for the first time, all the other kids cheer her on. And when she falls over, all the other kids clap her and say, keep going. This is the power of group learning. It fast tracks results and inspires growth. Our academy would be absolutely nothing without the community. The community is the thing. And I did a podcast on this last episode about why one-to-one coaching absolutely sucks. And that is the reason why. Guys, for the fourth and final lesson today, this is doing the annoying, uncomfortable stuff usually works. The annoying, uncomfortable stuff usually works. I can think of 17 things that I'd rather be doing than getting in a lukewarm pool at 7 a.m. on a 5-degree Vancouver morning. Or for that matter, jumping into a pool with swimming lessons and knowing or acknowledging that I'm basically bathing in a spa bath of toddler piss. Like, I can think of better things to do. But what I recognize, and from the constant push of my partner, is usually it's the small annoying choices that we make or don't make that actually add up to become all the difference. For example, tracking nutrition is probably the most boring thing in the world. It's really, really annoying and really frustrating, especially when you start to do it and you can't hit the numbers that you're after and it's playing with you and you're getting different results and you're just like, fuck, what's going on here? But it's also the number one fat loss skill. Because if you learn to track your nutrition, you can eat and drink whatever you want and worry less about what foods and instead worry about calories and protein. Two things. If you ensure that you stick to your step target each day, even when you'd rather lie down and watch Netflix, you commit to your steps, you'll win. That's an annoying, boring, repeatable activity. We often glamorize success, but the truth is, in most cases, and certainly in my experience, success is not in any way glamorous. It's often the product of boring, monotonous, things, habits that are being repeated over and over again, and your willingness to commit to them or not. It's kind of like me sitting here looking outside at a beautiful, sunny, 28-degree day, and much rather being out there and all day feeling the temptation that I just want to go out there. I just want to go out there. I just want to go out there. But I got to push for 2 hours to write this podcast because I understand and I have the awareness that I don't need to enjoy it or like it, but I've got to do it. And if I do the uncomfortable, boring things, the results will take care of themselves. So I'm going to recap these lessons by giving you a final takeaway, before giving you a final takeaway. Number one, lesson one, exposure to fear numbs fear. Exposure to fear numbs fear. Lesson two, you get a coach because you don't know what you don't know. And if you're in the academy, you've already got a coach. If you're outside of the academy and you listen to this, this is the number one problem that's stopping you from getting the results. You don't have a coach. So you're guessing. And when you're guessing, you get frustrated because you spin your wheels and get annoyed and give up until the next time you get a little bit of motivation. Then you start again by yourself. Then the results don't come. So you quit because it's not, and repeat the cycle. Lesson three, group learning fast tracks results. Group learning fast tracks results. Get involved in a community. And lesson four, doing the annoying, boring, uncomfortable stuff is usually actually what works. Now, I'm going to give you kind of one final kind of word or takeaway because I think this is actually this is more of an insight than anything. And it's another reason for parents of young kids to get themselves in shape. I wonder how many, now maybe I'm biased becoming from Australia perhaps, and I know how important swimming actually is, but I wonder how many people, how many young kids are missing the opportunity to do swimming lessons because mum or dad feel really uncomfortable getting into a bathing suit or a pair of shorts and getting into the pool with their kids because they're carrying weight. As much as you can be the person that I call becomes the chain breaker in your family. Let me look down this camera at you and tell you something. You can be the person that changes your entire family outcomes. Kind of like Neo in the Matrix. You can be the one. The one. I want you to think about the power of that idea. In fact, let me know in the comments. Are you the one? Are you the fucking one that breaks the repeating pattern in your family? Are you the one? Because you're the one. This is one example of how you confronting the fears, getting the coach, being willing to do the uncomfortable, boring shit, and joining a community. Through you doing those things, you change your entire family tree. Fuck, that is a powerful, powerful position to be in. But, like most things in life, things that are easy to do are also very easy to not do because they're hard. You could also be the one who misses the opportunity because of your weight, you feel embarrassed or fearful or scared to get in the pool with your kid and do swimming lessons. And so what that does is prevents them from learning how to swim until perhaps later in life. And so because of that, that continues on. My gosh. Isn't it funny? Just one decision can be the difference between two completely different roads traveled for a family. And, a kind of parting message to my Better Body Academy clients, that's how powerful you can be if you're willing to get uncomfortable. Guys, I'm going to love you and leave you for this Monday morning or Sunday afternoon if it is for you. Thank you for sharing your earbuds with me. I really, really do appreciate it. And I love you guys so much. I appreciate the time with you this morning or this afternoon or this evening. I will see you through the week. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast. The podcast you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. I will see you in the next episode. Well, I hope, guys, there was some value. I just remembered that I used to do something, like literally in that moment, I used to do something that I don't do anymore, and I'm not really sure why I don't do it. I used to stick around and talk to anyone that has any comments after it. I'm just going to read a couple of these comments. So I'm going to get back to doing this. Why not? So Stevie says, the community is next level. I love that. And Trav says, look into my eye. I love this. Mikey says, I'm the one. Travis says, I'm the one. James says, 100%. Michelle Richmond says, I'm the one. Like, isn't that just a powerful idea? By the way, I'm not recording anymore. Isn't that a really powerful idea? Like, you can be the hero. I don't know, that just seems profound to me. And you don't have to be a hero that's like clad in, lycra and flying from building to building like Superman. You can just be a hero from just getting a little bit uncomfortable on a daily basis and just trying to be a little bit better each week. Amelia says, the community has helped me so much. Meals, I remember our first conversation and I was like, I just had a sense that you really had your walls up and I was like, this is going to be tough to crack. And then you got on the huddle call, Meals, and you started to break those down. And you realized that your coaches aren't out to get you. And now you're a leader in the community. Now you're vocal. Now you're posting. Now you're inspiring. And the new ladies are watching you. Can you imagine what it feels like for Travis and Terry and Mike Bergman to be now leading guys like James Skeets? Can you feel what it feels like for Trent Barnett to be 30 kilos down? He's inspired his daughter. His daughter's inspiring her friends. Anyway, I'm going to get off. I get so excited about this stuff, guys, and I appreciate the time that we spend together. I'm going to see you through the week. Have an enjoyable day or night, and we'll chat soon.